Hello everybody, welcome back to English Champion. On this episode, I'm going to tackle several different topics. It's going to feel a little scattered, but I'm going to do my best to bring it all together and tie it all up so that it hopefully makes sense. And I have a feeling you're going to relate to many of the things that I'm going to talk about here because it's about the broader culture. It's about things that we all engage in constantly. And it's going to echo some things that people have been talking about recently, which is that how come everything seems to be getting worse? It's just sort of a downward trend as we keep supposedly improving our culture and we keep making these advancements. How come so many of the things we participate in our daily lives actually don't seem as good as they used to be? So the reason I want to cover this is because there's been so many recent examples of this that I've encountered, and one happened just this past weekend. And I thought, boy, am I just being old man, grumpy guy here who's just complaining about the way things used to be, or do other people feel this way? And sure enough, I saw that several other people did. And so it's like, okay, great. I'm not alone here. This is something that we can all discuss. So I'm going to talk about sports for just a minute. If you're not a sports fan, just hang on. I'll come around to some other topics. But this all started with sports. And so I'm going to give a few sports examples. So this past weekend, the Masters was held. And the Masters is a very traditional, kind of very conservative event. There's lots of rules. And there's just like very specific ways that they do things. The thing about that is everyone loves it. So here's this thing that goes against what all trends in culture normally do, which is, we got to keep changing things up. We got to appeal to more people. And normally they don't do any of that. They keep everything the same and everything is highly controlled. And like I said, tons of rules, and yet everyone loves it. And so this past weekend, there was, before the tournament ever starts, there's called the par 3 contest on Wednesday. And I was watching, and it's normally a day where the guys have their families on the course, there's kids everywhere, and it's sort of just a fun, relaxed day before the real tournament starts. And I noticed this year that it was different than other years. And there were people out there that I was like, why are they here? Including several sort of like podcast people and people in other forms of entertainment. And I was like, why are they there? What is this doing to help this event? They don't know anything about golf. I don't care about them. They're not as popular as people think. So what are they doing here? And I thought, boy, am I just being really picky? And thankfully, other people had said the same thing. And so I was like, okay, it's not just me. I'm not the crazy one who's just, again, the old guy shouting at the clouds. No, other people are seeing this as well, where we take something that everyone loves and we go, oh, well, let's make it more popular by bringing this person in or doing this new event or activity and add it to it, and that'll make it better. It's like, no, it made it worse. And so now, if this goes on in the future, I won't watch it anymore because it made it dumber. So just because we think something is going to be popular, that's not going to be the case. And so, like I said, I noticed several other people talking about that. However, this was not an idea that just came to me. I've been thinking about this for a long time now, especially this past year, because just in the last 4 months, there have been a number of sporting events where other events and the broadcast teams that show these events are doing these things. And I'm like, why are you doing that? You're making this thing worse. This isn't enjoyable. You're making it silly. Let the thing just be the thing. Let the par 3 contest just be the par 3 contest. Everyone likes it. It's a good casual time. It's sort of low stress before the intensity of the tournament starts. Let that just be the thing. You don't need to add anything to it. So what else has been going on? Well, just to stay on golf for 1 second before I move on to other things, I promise. I live right down the street from the Waste Management Open tournament. All right, TPC Scottsdale's right down the road, and I've played there a bunch of times, so I'm very familiar with it, and I have to deal with the traffic around my house every year, and so I know what that's all about. However, that event is so crazy that even though I'm a golfer and I watch golf and I'm a general sports fan and I have disposable income that I could go and afford to get a ticket and buy merchandise while I'm there and all that, I'm your ideal customer. I'm the one that you really want at the golf course. And yet I want nothing to do with going to that tournament. I've been, 3 or 4 times over the years. And the only reason I ever have gone is because someone has given me a free ticket because I'd refuse to pay for that chaos. There's just drunk people and idiots everywhere. And so their thing is, it's a big party. It's like, well, I'm here to watch golf because these are professional athletes. I like golf. Golf is fun. It takes incredible skill. I like watching these guys perform. How about just let me watch the golf? And I know it can be more relaxed than some other tournaments, especially the Masters. I'm not saying it has to be super stuffy, but it's so crazy, and everyone is so just rude, and it's just awful. I hate it. And even on television, it looks bad. So again, it's something that was already good. It was already popular, and they've gone so extreme with it that now it turns off the very people that made it popular in the first place, regular golf fans. So again, whether it's the Masters, where, yeah, I would tune into the Masters anyway. You don't need to convince me to make it more entertaining. I'm already here. I'm already watching. And the people who are going to watch, they're going to watch anyway. You're not going to bring in any extra viewers. That's just not how it works. So, especially with golf. So, just let the thing be what it is. And so here's, again, a tournament right down the road from my house, and I refuse to be a part of it, and they get no money from me because it's dumb to me. I like the golf. The whole atmosphere is a nightmare. So, again, it makes me sound like some old guy, but it's very disheartening when there are things in the culture where you're like, well, I'm the ideal customer for you. Why aren't you trying to appeal to me? I'm the one that has supported you this whole time. And now you're kind of betraying me. You're going away from the relationship we once had. That seems weird. You're chasing after new people when I've been here the whole time. And so that's just a couple things. Here's something else. The Final Four was just last week. I'm a basketball player. I played basketball at a sort of high level. I coach basketball at a high level. I'm a sports fan. I like these events. I love the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. It's great. It's been my favorite thing since I was a kid. Well, I'm watching the Final Four the other night, and in between the two Final Four games, I was going to grab a quick bite. So I ran to the kitchen. I was making myself some food because I was thinking, well, normally between games, as a player, I know, well, there's a 20-minute warm-up period. And maybe it's a little longer because TV and stuff. So maybe it's 30, 35 minutes that I'm going to have to go make some snacks, and I'll come back and watch. Well, I'm in there making food, and I peek out, and I'm like, what's going on the television? I was like, why are there DJs on the court at the Final Four? What is this weird concert they're having between games? There should be two games. The one just ended. There should be a warm-up time for the next teams. So then there should be another game. Why are there DJs on the court? I was like, I don't know who these people are. Apparently they're, I guess, kind of famous. But I was like, because they're not even musicians. They're just DJs. So what is this? And again, thankfully, as I looked later, because again, I thought, well, maybe I'm just the old guy who doesn't get it, and the world's passing me by, and everyone else was, there were people online also who were like me, were like, who asked for this? Why are you doing this? Who cares about these people? What was so funny is, I didn't want to watch it, but I was like curious as to what was happening. You could see in the crowd, they had just surrounded the little stage for these doofus DJ guys with a bunch of, 50, 19-year-old girls, with their hands like this. But when they would scan the crowd of, basketball fans, everyone was standing there going like no one was into it. Everyone's like, get these people out of here and let's start the second game. It was just a complete misunderstanding of who your audience is. Again, the thinking that, well, we need to make something that was already insanely popular. Let's try and make it more popular by bringing in people who have nothing to do with the thing we're doing, and that in the crowd, no one even likes them. Again, this might be different in other cities, but as someone from Indiana, seeing the Final Four in Indianapolis, where I have friends who have nothing to do with the schools involved, but they go because we're basketball fans. And when you looked at the crowd, it's so funny. You're like, yeah, do you know who people in Indiana are? They're there to watch basketball. Don't you get that? This isn't a Las Vegas nightclub. They're not there to hear stupid EDM music when they're trying to watch a basketball game. And so everyone in the crowd is standing there going, what is this? So it's like, know your audience. NCAA people and television broadcast people, the people who are tuning in want to watch basketball, not some ridiculous DJs who no one cares about. So again, yet another sporting event that's trying to create mass appeal, I guess, and yet you're just alienating the people who actually care about this stuff. And so I turned it off and went back to making my food. I was like, well, I'll come back when the game starts because this is dumb. So again, you're just turning off the people who would have kept their TV on during this whole time. What else has occurred in the last 4 months? Well, right before that was the NBA All-Star Game. Well, the NBA All-Star Game has been a disaster for years. I've talked about it on this channel, and it's the same thing. They, in an effort to, I guess, try to get more viewers, they bring in other people. So they've got comedians and musicians, and they paint the court purple, and they do all these dumb things when it's like, yeah, those of us who are basketball fans, we just want to watch the All-Star Game. Now, the problem with them is their product itself stinks. The Masters doesn't have a problem with that. NCAA, it's getting worse, but it doesn't have that problem yet. The NBA, their product stinks. It's not about marketing. It's not about advertising and bringing in more audience. You got to fix the product. And so their thing is, well, we gotta do something. So let's bring in comedians to make jokes during the game, or to do performances during the 3-point contest, or whatever they're doing. Like, it's just dumb. When I was a kid, we all tuned in to watch the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, and the game on Sunday. And it was great because all of our best players were there and they were all playing hard, competing, and it was great fun. Now, the product itself is stupid, and you've made it worse because even though if some of us who might be, we're not big fans anymore, but now at least casual fans, we might tune in and go, oh, well, I'd like to watch the 3-point contest. Now I see it, I'm like, nope, don't care at all. Whatever sideshow they're putting on, I don't care about this. It's annoying. I'm turning it off. So again, hello, basketball fan here. My whole life, basketball. And yet I have no interest in watching anything regarding the NBA, but especially the All-Star game. So you've alienated your own audience. It's weird. And the ratings aren't helping. You're not making it any better. What else? Well, the Olympics. The Olympics is always tricky because it's just so huge, and there's events scattered all over the place, and there's all sorts of weird events that people aren't familiar with. So I know it's a hard broadcast, but like, this is why they bring on Snoop Dogg. Like, why is Snoop Dogg part of the Olympics? He's not funny. He's not entertaining in any way. You can't even understand what he's saying half the time. Like, okay, he's a musician. That's great. Do your music. I don't need to see you doing whatever silly antics and interviews at the Olympics. Let me watch the sports. I like sports. Show me sports. And I understand part of the Olympics is they bring in the human interest stories, so those are fine because we don't know these athletes. They're not famous in the way that NBA and NFL and other athletes are. But like, why are people here who have nothing to do with the activity going on? Show me the sports. Have people do interesting interviews that are about sports. And why are you making it, supposedly more entertaining? And all it does is make those of us who actually normally have watched the Olympics our whole lives, we just turn it off because I'm like, I don't care about any of this. Why are you on here? So again, let's throw a celebrity in here. They're popular over here, or so we think. So if we add them to this, then they'll like it. It's like, no, you made it worse. Now it's dumber. So I don't understand why they're doing it. The Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is always a spectacle. So, you kind of already know that going in. It's not that weird to see celebrities and all that stuff because it's always kind of been that way. But it's just so insane now. It's 5 hours long. They've brought in, as other people have talked about ad nauseum, halftime entertainment that like are not exactly mainstream. Like when you bring on rappers, like you're kind of alienating a giant portion of your country, or of your viewership in the country. And so that's another thing where I'm like, why is this person here? What are they doing here? Why do I need to see them? Why are they on the broadcast? Who gave them a microphone to go do interviews or something? Like, they're not part of football. I don't care about them. Why are you making this more complicated? But, those are just a few examples of sports where everything in our lives now has to become a bigger spectacle, has to be more entertaining, supposedly, and it has to be, it has to be bigger. It's like, well, why? It was great before. Everyone watched, of all the broadcasts that have ever been held in America, almost all of them that are the most highly rated are Super Bowls. So people were watching the Super Bowl long before we ever had to have Bad Bunny be at the Super Bowl. Okay, you're not losing viewers. Everyone watches the Super Bowl. Same thing with the Final Four. People have always watched the Final Four. Those numbers have gone down quite a bit since I was a kid. When I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, especially into the early 90s, once the most talented teams of UNLV, the Duke run, into all the way up through Kentucky in the late 90s, like the viewership was in the mid 30 millions. That's who watched Final Four and championship games. It's now about half of that. So it's like, you're still getting a decent number, but like all the things you're trying to do to make this more hyped, and they've all got hype videos, and now the guys are doing dance routines. Like, yeah, you're losing viewers because all of us who are traditional fans hate it. Stop doing it. And you'll just keep the viewers who actually like you, because otherwise we're changing the channel. So everything is becoming just entertainmentized. Everything has to be bigger and more of a spectacle. And it all feeds into what Neil Postman said 40 years ago now in his book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, which is, I always kind of paraphrase it as, the thing you're watching, it's not a thing, it's a TV show. So it's not a golf tournament, it's a TV show. It's not a football game, it's a TV show. Everything is just a TV show. Or in our current culture, everything is just a YouTube video. Everything is a TikTok video. And so that's what you see when you're watching these events. You're like, oh, they're actually shooting this and editing this in a way so that they can make a quick TikTok video out of it, or they can post this clip on YouTube. Instead of just letting the thing, the game, the event, whatever it is we're filming, just be what it is and let people like it for what it is. No, it's always shaped by the medium. The medium is the message, as McLuhan said. So that's becoming more obvious than ever. It's like you've completely abandoned what it was, which was a great basketball game, a great golf tournament, a great football game, whatever. And now it's like, oh, we've got to make it not just a TV show, but a YouTube clip and a TikTok video that can be condensed into 15 seconds of a highlight. It's like, those of us who just like stuff, let us just like it. You're not going to lose viewers over it, I promise. Just be good at showing the thing that we all like. Because the thing we all like made you popular in the first place. You wouldn't have the Final Four. You wouldn't have the Masters. You wouldn't have the Super Bowl. You wouldn't have any of these things, NBA All-Star Game, without those of us who have been watching from the beginning. For 45 years I've been watching. So why are you alienating the people who were your most valuable customers all this time? It's just very frustrating. Everything is to try to appeal to 17-year-olds or 23-year-olds. And so everything has, oh, let's bring on this influencer. Meanwhile, like, I don't know who that is. Like, who cares? They're not related to the event. Get them out of here. Or here's this podcaster. They'll be popular. No, they won't. You just ruined it. You made it weird. Talk about the game. That's what we care about. So I've definitely noticed this most recently in sports, but this is other areas too. And of course, movies are the same way, where everything is spectacle. Like, you can't just make a normal movie anymore. Everything has to be the latest digital stuff, the latest CGI, the biggest spectacle, the fastest edits, the loudest music, the most chaotic stuff on the screen. Like, it's so much that you won't let the thing just be the thing. How about just tell a story? How about just be a movie with good acting and good writing and good directing? That's what we care about. And so what are you doing? You're alienating the people, moviegoers, who have been going to movies since I was 5 years old. Like, you've alienated us. I haven't been to a movie in I don't know how long because the stuff you're putting out is garbage. You're ruining it. So get back to basics. Get back to just showing me a basketball game. Get back to just showing me a golf tournament. Get back to just making a good movie. I don't need all the other stuff. I don't need a spectacle. If it's good, I'll already be entertained. You don't need to add more entertainment to it. Just be the thing, and everything will be fine. Something Postman talks about it, and I've seen it as well, is this also happens not just in the entertainment industry, but even in other industries. Like, this is how churches are. It's like, I'm a pretty traditional guy. I've always gone to traditional churches. And when you're going to churches, like, why is there like a fog machine? And why is this a light show? Why am I at a rock concert suddenly? Like, I came to church. I came to study the Word of God. That's why I'm here. I don't need all this stuff. Like, I know you're trying to draw more people in. You're trying to make it more mass appeal. But what you're doing is you're actually turning off the very people who built your churches in the first place. We've been the ones who were here for 40 years. We were the ones who supported you. And guess what? When you start doing that, we leave. And so, I've had a heck of a time over the years, my wife and I, trying to find churches that we like because, I'm a lifelong Christian, and yet how come I can't find a church I like? Because everyone I go to doesn't feel like church. Just like when I turn on these things, I'm like, this doesn't feel like a basketball game. This feels like a weird DJ Vegas nightclub. What am I doing here? It's the same thing. So it's not just sports. It's not just, the media industry, movies, whatever other entertainments. It's also church. It's also school. Everything in school has to be entertaining. We got to put on a show for kids. Otherwise, they're not going to learn. Well, we've also learned that that's not true at all. In fact, things have gotten way worse in education. The more we've tried to, again, sort of mass appeal everything and make it more entertaining. And, we've got to get kids interested and get their hands on stuff and use video and all these things, use the platforms. Like, nope, you've made it worse. Kids are dumber than ever. So the thing you thought would work and make it more interesting and more, again, appealing to masses has actually backfired. And, again, the people who are like myself, who's a teacher, the most invested in real education, you're turning us off when all your schools demand that you have to implement these tools or these kinds of methods in your classes where everything has to be more entertaining. No, you're just turning everyone off, and it's making everything worse. So I also, just to transition away from sports and entertainment stuff, had an experience this past week that relates to a lot of, again, what other people have been saying, and has fit right in with a term that, pardon the vocabulary I'm going to use here, but it's become actually part of the normal wording that people use. But the enshittification of things, where it's usually applied to technology, where pieces of technology get built and adapted, and you think it's great, and actually you find out, oh, this made everything worse. This was supposed to make things more convenient and easy and really, really user friendly. No, it's a nightmare. And I had this encounter just this past week. I have it all the time, but I was on I had to get an app, which I hate. And so I was making a reservation. I was making a purchase for something I was going to do. And everything worked fine, except when I hit the button to buy and it processed my payment, the receipt that it spit out showed me that the price had changed. They changed the price from the time that I looked at it to the time after I pushed accept or pay right now. I was like, well, that's a problem. You overcharged me. So I tried contacting the company, and I'm not kidding, I spent 45 minutes on a chat with who knows who, because you don't know where these people are. And they absolutely would not even pay attention to my problem. They're like, well, to address your problem, you need to go create an account. I was like, well, I already bought the thing through your app. I paid for it. You have all of my information. You have my credit card information. You have my email address. You have my home address, my phone number, because I had to enter all that when I made the purchase. So what could possibly be in another account that you would need to verify who I am? You have my information. Just look it up into your system. I just bought it the other day. You have it. Address my problem, please, or at least let's talk about it. No, we can't do that unless you open an account. It's like, no, I was already a guest. I already performed the function of paying for the product or the service. So let's just work on that for a minute. Help me through this process and address the problem that your app overcharged me. This was supposed to make things easier. Your app made it more complicated. So please help me. No, you need to do this or otherwise I can't help you. So it's amazing. I was like, well, why would anyone, if I was able to make my purchase, this is what I said to the person. I said, I was able to make my purchase. Everything went through smoothly. It was fine. So why would anyone ever create an account if it actually went through just fine? The problem was, if there's a problem, well, then now I have to have an account. So it's like, well, why would anyone ever put all your information in for an account? I guess it's in case there's a problem. Well, why would you have a business where you're anticipating you're constantly have a problem? Why wouldn't you just fix the problems in the first place? So this app situation, the technology made everything way, way more complicated. It made an error on my purchase, and then to try to fix the problem, it was a nightmare. And so the whole time I'm just sitting there thinking, this is the great episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia called Dennis Takes a Mental Health Day, I think is what it is. Where through the whole episode, he encounters all these situations where technology and customer service completely fail. And the whole time he's like, you guys made all these things supposedly to make life better for us. And yet this is constant stress and you've made everything worse. In that episode, he can't get a normal tea at a coffee shop. He can't get a new cell phone because it's too complicated. He can't get a rental car functioning properly because the doors lock him out of his own car. It's just so complicated. It's like, what was the point of all this? Why did we need to go through all of this? How have you made things better? And again, another Neil Postman point. He gave I can't remember if it's a lecture he gave or if it's in one of his books. I can't remember, but he tells the story he gives the example of how in cars we used to have roll down windows. And so he's describing how, when the new electric windows for your car came out, he was going, what problem is this solving? How is this making your car experience actually any better? Was this so difficult? Was this a problem of me having to roll down my own window? Was that a major concern that people were up in arms about? I hate my car because I hate doing this. We need to put a button so I only have to do that. It's what problems is this solving? So again, same thing when you have all these apps and we have all these other pieces of technology and then they don't work properly, you're like, what's the point of this? How is this better? And what ends up happening, especially with that example, is why it's such a great example is, when I was a kid, we had a couple cars throughout my childhood and they all had roll down windows. And I don't remember in all my years as a child, my parents ever having to take the car in to get this fixed on the car. Never once. And yet in my adulthood, I've had two cars that the button and the mechanism inside the door broke. So you can't roll down your window. And if you do roll it down, you can't get it back up. It's horrible. So like the thing you thought was going to make the car so much cooler and better and more efficient, I guess, to do this than to do this. I don't know how that helps. Actually made it way worse because now that it's technologized or whatever the word would be, it's easier to break. And when it does break, it's a huge nightmare to fix. I remember on one of my cars, it cost like $350. That was like 20 years ago. So I'm sure it's way more than that now. And if you don't have the money and you're trying, which when I didn't have the money and I was just like, well, I won't fix it. Try going through a drive-through anywhere where your window doesn't work. You look like an idiot where you're like, I have to open my door to pay the drive-through girl, like get my food from the fast food place. It's horrible. So the technology you implemented made it worse. Now, is it nice? I guess. I mean, it's sleek and all you have to do is do this and whatever. But like, was it solving a real problem? So back to where I started, the Masters coverage for the par 3 contest, like what problem were you trying to solve? Because the Masters does not care about viewers. That's like part of their thing is like they don't care if you watch. They don't care about expanded TV contracts. They actually want to limit all of the access. And so like if viewership is down, they don't really care because they don't really pay for that kind of stuff. It doesn't really cost them to lose viewers. So it's not a problem. So you're like, why make this change? What problem are you solving by bringing in Jason Kelsey to walk around and hold a microphone and pretend like he knows anything about golf or that he's funny or like this didn't improve this in any way. Just like in many cases, having an electric button for your car windows doesn't actually improve your driving experience. In fact, when it breaks, just like my app broke, when it didn't charge me correctly, it makes everything worse. It's a huge waste of time and money for the customer. So why are we doing these things? So again, a couple Postman ideas there. One about media and another general technology thing. Like there's just, again, the constant push to try to make everything better actually sometimes makes things worse. So here's another example of that. So for several years now, I've vowed I will never go to McDonald's again. And yet sometimes I find myself still going there thinking, well, it's going to be better this time. This time I'm going to go and they're going to get my order right. And the food's going to taste good. It's going to be fresh and it's going to be fine. And every single time I'm let down by it. And so this last time I was just there a couple weeks ago. And because I was out running around doing some stuff and it's like, I'm hungry. Let me run into McDonald's. Even though I've told myself, do not go to McDonald's anymore. It's the worst. I was like, I'll give it another try. I go in and there's just two screens, little kiosks that you get your own order. Many of the places that have gone to that direction, there's still a counter where there's someone behind there if you want to talk to them. This place, no, there's a little teeny tiny counter, no one around, no person anywhere. You heard some people in the back cooking the food, but there's no one serving you or taking your order. So it's like, okay, fine. So it takes me forever to punch in all the buttons on the screen when I could have just walked up to the counter and said, I'd like a number 2, please. That's it. I mean, it could have been that easy, but no, I got to punch in. Do you want more? Do you want to add this? Do you want to upsize that? It's complicated, but whatever. It's fine. So I do that. Again, there's nobody around and there's nothing on any of the walls. Like all fast food places, it's just a gray box restaurant now. There's no distinguishing features of any of these fast food restaurants. And even inside, there's no posters, there's no paintings, there's nothing visual that makes this feel like a comfortable, homey, fun place to have a meal. It's so sterile. It felt weird. Again, there's no people around, like no servers, no one cleaning tables. There's no staff. And then there's nothing on the walls. It's just, like I said, sterile. And so like thinking back to my childhood of growing up, going to McDonald's all the time, I'm like, I don't know where I am. This doesn't feel like a McDonald's. There's no service happening. And this wasn't at like an airport where you think, okay, they got to have minimal staff. It's a little weird because people are on the go and like it's a special situation. No, this is a normal McDonald's in the middle of my enormous metropolitan city. And yet it felt like I was on another planet. So again, it's just so weird that you think Do you think, and then to top it all off, everything's insanely expensive. At McDonald's, which was, when I was a kid, the cheapest place to get any food. I went to McDonald's more often than Burger King or Wendy's because it was way cheaper, even though I like those places' food better. But McDonald's was always the cheap, good place to go and grab something quick. Now, oh, it's more expensive than anything. So again, like, what have you done to make this better? There's nothing better about this experience. And so that confirmed for me, like, I'm never going to McDonald's ever again. So again, back to the point of all this. The person, your main customer that's been supporting your business for 45 years, you've alienated them. I want nothing to do with your restaurant anymore because it's dumb. It's overpriced. The technology is weird, and you don't have any staff there helping you. So it doesn't feel like a comfortable place. And so I'm not going to go there anymore. So, oh, and then whenever you do, like if you go to the drive-thru, what's the first question they ask you now? Will you be using your app today? Like, no, I don't have the McDonald's app. I don't want to use another app. Well, I'm ordering the food from you. How about you just get my food for me and I'll pay you? Like, I don't need to go through an app for this. So you're just making things worse. Everything's more complicated. And contrast that with the burger restaurant that is considered to have the most loyal customers and receives the highest customer satisfaction. What place is that? In-N-Out Burger. Luckily, I'm in a city out here because I live in the West where we have plenty of In-N-Out burgers. In-N-Out Burger expressly says we have no interest in ever starting an app. You go to any In-N-Out Burger, they do not have kiosks where you just touch a screen. When you go into an In-N-Out Burger, there are staff members everywhere. There's tons of people behind the registers. There's tons of people hustling and working. There's tons of people cleaning the restaurant. There's people being helpful everywhere. It's great. It's a pleasure to go to an In-N-Out Burger. The food is good. The prices are way better than McDonald's. It's way cheaper. And there's people there helping you. You feel comfortable. You feel like you're in a restaurant. You feel glad to have gone out to go get food instead of sitting at home. All right. Unlike McDonald's, where I hated every minute I was sitting in the restaurant because it was so sterile. In-N-Out Burger has a livelihood to it. It's affordable. It's for regular people. And it was great. So like that's the difference. One company cares about its customers and they want face-to-face interaction, fresh food, and customer care. Like they're cleaning up after you. They're very friendly and super nice, and they do a great job. The other doesn't care about you at all. They want no contact with you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to hear your order. They don't want to be around if you have a question. They don't want anything to do with you. Those are the two models. Yes, McDonald's still makes billions of dollars, but In-N-Out Burger makes more per location than McDonald's does. They're a more successful company, and they choose to be small so that they can take care of their individual customers, which we appreciate. Take care of your loyal customers, whether you're in the sports industry, whether you're in the media industry, whether you're in the food industry, whether you're in the tech industry. Take care of your customers. Stop choosing to build flashy things that actually make things worse. Stop choosing to, for the sake of efficiency, completely cut out any real customer service. Like, oh, well, here, just use the app. That's faster. No, it's worse, actually. So why are we doing this? So they're all connected in some way. And over the last few months, I've just been noticing it everywhere. We're like, everything is now, it's not the thing anymore. McDonald's is not the thing anymore. It's not a thing that I recognize. The Final Four was not a thing I recognize. What is this? You think you're making it better, and you're not. Something else that's sort of tangentially related that it goes to the like why everything's getting worse is just there's a general lack of decorum in the culture. And again, countless people have talked about this regarding like airplanes. Like people used to dress up to go on an airplane. Like it was a formal thing. Like I need to look nice because this is a professional thing. I'm going on this trip. Now people wear flip-flops and sweatpants. Like it's gross. When I was at that McDonald's, okay, seriously, this is not a joke. When I was at that McDonald's, a lady walked in wearing a see-through shirt and clearly had no bra on, like and shorts that were kind of like underwear, like booty shorts where her body was hanging out of her clothing. It was like, this is the decorum. Like you're out in public. You're at a place where people eat food. You're at a place where children would be, McDonald's usually had a lot of kids at it. Like you're out in public. What are you wearing? Well, no one cares anymore because everything is meant to be for the masses. Everything is meant to be, well, anyone can come in. It's like, yeah, but you're being inappropriate. This is not appropriate for being in a restaurant. Just like, again, wearing flip-flops and sweatpants and having bad hygiene, or carrying your bedding with you onto an airline. Like, that's not appropriate behavior for riding on a plane. Same thing at schools. Go look at footage of kids in high school, and definitely college, in the 50s and 60s. Look at old black and white footage of them going to class. They're wearing ties. They're wearing jackets. Girls wear dresses. Like, going to school was kind of like, even just high school, was sort of a professional kind of thing. Like, you're out in public. This is a place where there's respectable people like teachers and principals, and you're doing something important. You're going to learn. This is this isn't lounging around your house. You're going out into the world, so look presentable. And now, again, as a longtime college professor, like, yeah, kids stroll in their pajamas and their disgusting Crocs and their bare feet, and they bring their blanket from their bed and they wear it like a coat. Like, you look like a homeless person. What are you doing here? This is supposed to be a respectable place. So, schools that have diminished their standards of behavior and dress and decorum and kind of the moral values of what the ethos of the school is, and go, well, no, we want to let everyone in. Yeah, you let in people who look like they're bums and don't care, and they fall asleep in class with their disgusting pajamas. Like, what is this? Again, we used to have a culture where people took things seriously. People went out and looked presentable, looked somewhat professional. We just saw the biggest example of this in the recent clip that went viral of the Boston Red Sox opening day game from, like, whatever, 1955 or something, whatever it was. And again, you look at it, people are dressed up. It's just an afternoon baseball game. And guys might have a tie on, they might have a blazer on. Again, ladies are kind of wearing dresses, they've got jewelry on. Like, it's an outing. It's like something you would wear to a nice restaurant. And yet, I'm a sports fan here. I have disposable income. I can afford to go to a game once in a while. And yet I refuse to go to, here in my town, a Suns game, a Diamondbacks game, a Cardinals game. I don't care about going to sporting events. Because why? Because the people there, it's too loud. People behave inappropriately. There's vulgarity. There's people being drunk all over the place. Like, I want no part of being in those situations. So, again, everything is like, well, we want the masses. We got to appeal to everybody. So, it shouldn't just be for stuffy, wealthy people who come to games wearing a suit and tie. Okay, fair enough. I understand that. But there's a decorum, a behavior, a morality of how we act in public that has completely been diminished. And so, again, you thought being more accessible and letting everybody in was better. No, you've turned off the very people who used to love to go to games and who supported the local team and bought the merchandise and all the stuff that we all did as kids who grew up as sports fans. Yeah, you've turned us all off. I don't care about you anymore because you're not what you used to be. So keeping things simple, getting back to basics, emphasizing quality over, again, just mass appeal, not having to entertainmentize everything. Like, let things just be what they are, and it'll be good. Just be good, and you don't have to add anything else to it. I promise. It'll function properly. But this goes to the broader point of everything. Let me just tie all this together. That constant entertainment and technology sort of is beholden to this idea that more equals better. It's like, oh, we get this many million people on this broadcast. If we add this comedian and this rapper and this other musician to be part of the broadcast, it'll be better because we've added more. If we add a concert in the middle of the game, it'll be more. It'll be better. It's like, no, more isn't better all the time. In entertainment, in fact, it's usually worse. Let's add more CGI to this movie. Nope, you probably made it worse. Okay, more does not equal better. Especially with technology, it's not only more, but it's new. Let's do this new thing. If it's new, that means it's cool and it's better than the old thing, because there's kind of this, scientific view that, we're constantly moving in a straight line so that the thing that comes next is always better than the thing that came before it. It's like, no, that's not how it is. Just because it's new doesn't make it better. Just because there's more doesn't make it better. Sometimes less and the old way, the simple way, is better. In-N-Out Burger has embraced less, simple, quality, human interaction. It's the simplest thing in the world, and it's the best. The places that have gone to more technology, more frivolous stuff, worse. So I don't know why we're doing this. But again, the key kind of result of all of it is what you've done is you've alienated the very people that made it strong in the first place. All right. I was your loyal McDonald's customer. You completely turned me off. I was your loyal NBA All-Star game watcher. Completely turned off. You know, I've been involved in a lot of stuff. You know, I was your loyal movie theater goer. I'm a movie nerd. I used to go to the movie every week. I would be at the theater watching something. Now I haven't gone in years because you've alienated your base. Stop alienating the very people that made you successful in the first place. Get back to quality. Simplify. Just focus on what made you good. And if it was good, it will remain good. If you've read Taleb's book, Anti-Fragile, he talks about the Lindy effect. And that, that's a concept that other people have talked about as well. But it's like, things that we create tend to stay in existence in proportion to how long they've already been in existence. So just because something's been in existence for a long time doesn't mean it's dying. It's not like human beings, like, oh, once you get old, you don't have much time left. Cultural things that we create, if they've already been around for a long time, chances are they're going to be around for that same amount going forward. And so it's the same thing. Like, if you have a good restaurant and you've been around for 50 years or whatever, well, like, just keep doing the really good stuff that got you popular in the first place, and you'll probably be fine. You don't need to keep evolving. You don't need to keep going with more and new. You don't need to add technology to everything. Just be really good, and you're probably going to be successful another 50 years. And that's what it seems like all these industries, whether it's the sports industry, whether it's the film industry, and anything that people create, anything in the culture, restaurant industry, the basics can still win. And in the process of you trying to update everything, you're just turning off all of us who should be your primary customers, especially those of us who are adults and have, reached some level of success where we can afford to do some of these things. Like, yeah, you should want to be appealing to us, and you've completely turned us off in favor of 24-year-old kids who follow influencers and don't have any money. Like, why are they your customer base? We should be your customer base. We're the ones who supported you all this time. Let's continue on this ride together. Keep serving me good food. Keep showing me good ball games. Keep making good movies. And I'll continue to spend and be a part of your world with you. But you've turned us all off. And so this past weekend was just one of those. And it's very sad to see, because I think there's to bring it all back around to where I started. There is an urge for it, I think. We're seeing some schools now, once they learned that, the schools that added the most technology had the worst outcomes. So they're like, let's take the technology out of the schools. Maybe that'll be better. Yeah, that's what you should have been doing all along. But like, we see the example this week in sports at the Masters. This is an event where they don't allow cell phones. They don't allow cameras. You can't run to go, to stand in line or to get a spot at a hole or anything like that. You can't run around. You can't be loud. You can't have bad behavior. You can't wear jeans. Like there's all sorts of rules there. And you know what? Everyone loves it. Everyone in the sports world knows going to the Masters is the greatest, most prestigious thing you can possibly do. Everyone loves it. It's like, well, how can everyone love it? You don't even get to use your cell phone. Yeah, because it's great. Because you don't need to have your phone all the time. You don't need to take pictures of every single thing. You can just be there and enjoy, like I said, the thing for what it is. It's a beautiful place with amazing golfers. It's an intense competition. That's all you need to be. That's it. Be a beautiful location, have good quality competitors, and be a good event from a sports standpoint. Yeah, you don't need to have a rock concert in the middle of it. You don't need to have everyone taking selfies everywhere. You don't need to have influencers walking around doing stupid stuff. Just be the thing. And everyone loves it. I wish everyone would take a cue from the Masters where we go, yeah, how about we have an event where you don't get to bring your cell phone? You don't get to bring cameras in here. You don't get to act like a drunken idiot. You don't get to run around and start fights. You don't get to behave like a buffoon when we're trying to have a real event here. And everyone would love it. It would become the most prestigious thing in the country. I don't know why we don't have more of those. We could choose to do that. So there's the lesson of the day. All these areas of life, for some reason they keep getting worse. And the main ethos behind it is, oh, we got to do more. We got to have new stuff. We got to make it more popular. Nope. Just be the thing. Be good. The people who have supported you all along, not only will we continue to support you, but we'll bring our kids to support you. So that's how you maintain this in the long run, is because we will get our kids excited about going to those movies, going to those restaurants, going to those sporting events. We will pass on that tradition as long as you keep doing a good job. Stop with the more, stop with the new, and you'll be fine. Thanks for listening to my rant. See you next time.